Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scarlet Keys. Before we begin, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. It really helps out the channel. With that out of the way, today we just finished up Sanguine Shadows in Buenos Aires, and we are going to embark. Buckle yourself in. This is going to be a lot of reading, so this is going to be like an interlude, and then we're going to move on from there. But it's going to be very, very long based on the route that I've planned. So we're currently in Buenos Aires. We're going to go west to Sydney, which is 49R. Ringing Hollow. File 49R. Asset name Quinn Ari. Area of operation Sydney, Australia. Profile field researcher in charge of paradimensional analysis. Despite recent events, Asset has not yet requested a transfer. Recommend continued psychiatric evaluation. Current assignment Agent Quinn is currently performing independent research regarding recent paradimensional disturbances. So we ended that scenario with 11 time. We will mark 1 time to go to Sydney. So we're at 12 right now. Check how much time has passed in the campaign log. If less than 20 has passed, which it has, Ringing Hollow 1. 2, sorry. Oh, I should read the... Yeah. Sorry, I need to Ringing Hollow 1. You arrive in Sydney and immediately search from the agent described in Taylor's dossier, finding her safe house in an old condemned warehouse by Botany Bay on the eastern side of the city. She has an entire wall of filing cabinets containing years and years of research, and her table is covered in a mess of maps and photographs. Ah, the new cell, she regards you, flipping on a fluorescent light that coldly illuminates the room. The name's Quinn. The commissioner told me you might drop by. You ask her what kind of intel she might have to aid your investigation, which earns a chuckle. What don't I have? Well, let me show you what I am looking into right now. Check the campaign log. If the cell told the truth to Taylor, which we did, proceed to Ring Hollow 2. I've been looking into the disappearances you mentioned to Taylor. She is concerned about these events, but perhaps not as much as she should be. She hands you a file from her table and leans back as you examine it. It's a host of information regarding missing buildings, sites, in some cases even entire villages, all of which vanished mysteriously and without explanation. Sound familiar? You nod and inform Quinn that this is precisely the kind of thing that you'd been looking into before you were recruited into the Foundation. You take the time to tell Quinn everything you know regarding the strange entities you have spotted numerous times in your travels and what their presence does to objects and people alike. That lines up with my research, she says, motioning to her cluttered table. But if that's true, these things have been active for literally hundreds, thousands of years, and we have collectively forgotten everything that has been erased, save for a desperate few that cling to memory. Do you understand what this means? Other than the obvious, that humanity is in a very danger of becoming forgotten history, you aren't sure what she is getting at. I have a hunch, but I cannot look into it here. Looks like I'm headed back to Britain. I know you have your own assignment to get to, but if you can spare the time, can you come meet me in Amesbury? It's just due west of London. Wearing a taut but determined grimace, Quinn gathers some personal belongings and leaves you with more questions than answers. In the North Atlantic section of the campaign log, find London, and in its spot, write 27H. You are allowed to travel back to that location whenever you embark. So that's what it looks like now. And we may embark. Okay, next on our journey, I believe, is we're going to Perth. Yes, we're going to Perth, which is right next door at 55X. I wonder why we're back here. Paranatural selection. Prominent zoologist has published several surveys regarding disappearing wildlife. Zoologist claims entire species and the memory of their existence are being erased. Possible redacted disturbances. A cool breeze greets you as you arrive in Perth. The capital of Western Australia is nestled in the crook of the Swan River, and despite, or perhaps because of, the nearby gold rush, it has the rugged feet of a frontier town. You catch a scent of something too sweet, possibly rotten, in the breeze. Check the campaign log. If the cell met Dr. Irawan, we have, and less than 25 time has passed, so we should mark 1 time. We're now at 13 time, which is less than 25 for sure. Proceed to Paranatural Selection 2. You find Dr. Irawan at the local university cleaning up an empty lecture hall. On the blackboard is a precise chalk drawing of a stocky marsupial clutching a cluster of sedge grass. I did not expect to see you here. The zoologist sets to erasing the blackboard. You ask about the sketch. It is a rare species of quokka, the red-tailed quokka. They were first introduced to the West by Dutch explorers in the 17th century, and now no one, not even the Cambridge professor who taught me their name, remember who they are. I do not know how much you have studied natural selection, but what we are experiencing feels very much like the introduction of a new apex predator into an ecosystem that has not evolved to withstand it, says the zoologist. Except that this predator feeds not only on the body, but on the actual existence of its prey. Although, of course, that would be unthinkable, she laughs, but I cannot help the feeling that we are its prey, and the process is only accelerating. The zoologist sits down and begins to flip idly through a sketchbook. Thinking on the terms the Foundation used, he suggests she name the phenomena paranatural selection. She looks troubled at the suggestion, then smiles. I will be sure to credit you, she says, then goes pale. You look down and see her gaze fixed on a particular page in her sketchbook. This cannot be. You ask her what the matter is, and she points to the page. Just yesterday, this page was not blank. The Phalanges septimus, a cuscus living on western New Guinea. Dr. Irwin begins gathering up her things. I sketched this subject from direct observation just months ago. Perhaps there will be some trace of it, or whatever force is behind all this, out in Manokwari. She pushes a strand of her hair behind her ear and smiles at you. Thank you for listening. Perhaps we will meet again. In your campaign log, record that Dr. Irawan traveled to New Guinea. Each investigator earns 1 experience as they gain insight into the strange happenings of the world. So we have 4 experience. Under time past, write delta underneath the current time. So that is number 13, I believe. The symbol is no status report. In the Southeast Asia section of the campaign log, find Manokwari. And in its spot, write 45p. Manokwari, here we go. 45p. So that is it over there. You are now able to travel to Manokwari whenever you embark, and we may embark. So I believe next we need to go. I'm just going to pass through Kuala Lumpur because I want to go straight there, honestly. Yeah. So take this back. Going to Kuala Lumpur takes 1 time from Perth. So that's we've marked 14 now. And then we travel from Kuala Lumpur straight to Manokwari. And that takes another time. We're at 15, which means that we have to read beta. Over there. So let's quickly read beta. I told you this is going to be a long one. Let me see if I can actually find where it is. There it is. You receive a coded missive from Commissioner Taylor herself. Agents, not long ago, a massive explosion occurred near the Podkamennaya Tunguska River in Siberia. It is classified as an impact event, but this is just a cover story. Our intel now indicates coterie involvement. I have reason to believe this may be the site of one of their sanctums. I have perhaps even their primary safe house. You have clearance to investigate the site, but be prepared for anything. Add a cultist token to the chaos bag. In the Central Asia section of the campaign log, find Tunguska. In its spot, write 59Z. Where's Tunguska? Here it is. 59Z. You are now allowed to travel to the location whenever you embark. Note, this will end the campaign. You may wish to investigate further before proceeding to Tunguska, but be wary of how much time you spend. Okay, so we have 2 cultists in the bag now. And that's beta. And now we actually read whatever is at Manokwari, which, what did we say? The number at Manokwari is 45p. That's right. 45. Here we go. One more. 45p. The Metamorphosis. It is early evening as your boat pulls into port of Manokwari. Towering mountains. Oh, sorry, I need to mark the time. Oh, no, I already marked the time. That's right, because we marked it to get here. Towering mountains covered in rich greenery roll down to meet the brilliant blue water. As night falls, coruscating lights dance beneath the surface of the water. Are they bioluminescent plants or something else? So there's only been two times since Delta, so we go to Metamorphosis 2. At first, you are concerned that nobody recognizes Dr. Irwan's name, but after some persistent questioning, a reluctant local offers to lead you to her. Heading into the dense underbrush, you follow a steep path up a nearby mountain until you reach a dark hollow. Leaning against the trunk of an ironwood tree, you find the zoologist peering intently into the shadows. I didn't expect you to follow me here, Dr. Irwan whispers. Following her lead, you sit down next to her and peer into the darkness. The air around you is thick and moist. My theory was incorrect, or at least partially incorrect. From your vantage point, you can see into a shallow dell cut by a cascading waterfall. The moon shimmers on the ripples of a narrow stream. Dr. Irwan continues. All trace of this particular couscous is gone. That much is for certain. The locals have no memory of them, but something is different about the disappearance. Something lingers. A low mourning wail from somewhere in the trees startles you. Dr. Irwan holds out a pair of binoculars and points at a cluster of ironwood trees on the far side of the glade. Peering through, you spy 3 cat-sized marsupials with yellow eyes clinging to a branch, curled tails swinging in the dark. They are feeding on something. Just looking at them makes your head spin. Something about them is both there and not there at once, forcing your eyes to constantly adjust. The animal's movements are stiff and double-jointed as well, both too fast and too slow. You look away. You see them? Asks Dr. Irwan. You nod and look again. The couscous are messily devouring a green python. It's fascinating. A fundamental change. The prey have become predators. The few I have observed have made a complete shift in behavior, turning on other couscous, hunting their own natural predators, of which the green python is one. Their very nature seems to have changed. Dr. Irwan stammers excitedly. But more importantly, they aren't gone. I mean, they have gone to some. Nobody remembers them, but yet they persist. You turn your binoculars back to the couscous to find them frozen, staring straight at you with their bright topaz eyes. Surprised, you drop the binoculars. When you look again, the couscous are gone. Suddenly on edge, you tell Dr. Irwan it would be best to leave, but she shakes her head. I'm on the verge of the greatest discovery of the century, an entire field of parazoological research. I cannot leave now. Leaving Dr. Irwan to her own devices, you head back into town. The jungle around you is eerily silent, and even as you break into a moonlit clearing, you cannot help the feeling of being watched. Over the next few days, you make contact with the zoologist in passing. The day your ship is scheduled to leave Manokwari, Dr. Irwan is suspiciously absent from the guest house. The staff tell you she didn't return the night before. Concerned for her safety, you return to the hollow where you met her before. The jungle retains the same unsettling quietude as you hike up the mountain. A lot of text. Scattered on a rock overhanging the dark hollow are several torn-up sketchbooks and a broken pair of binoculars, but no trace of Dr. Irwan. Scanning the murky Scanning the murky copsey, you see a glimmer of light and the zoologist's batik vest at the base of the waterfall. You carefully pick your way down the muddy slopes to the bank of a narrow stream where the zoologist lays prone, her arms bent at odd angles. A trio of yellow-eyed couscous scatter as you approach, turning her over gently. You are relieved to find her still breathing. A strange black implement is clutched in her left hand, close to her chest. A mordant call resounds from above. Dr. Irwan is surprisingly light as you scoop her up in your arms. Dozens of yellow eyes glare down at you from the ironwood trees as you carry the zoologist downstream, away from the hollow. Flitting, shimmering forms dart to and fro overhead like silent warnings. As soon as you get back to town, you check the unconscious zoologist into a clinic. The ship you had booked had already left, but with the strange circumstances you found her in, you resolve to stay with Dr. Irwan until she wakes up. Several days pass, filled with disquieting silence until she finally speaks. I I noticed several Kuskas gathered around this. She thumbs a hollow bell in her good hand. I knew better than to interfere, but they seemed so fixated on it, much like magpies or crows will hoard certain objects. So strange. I noticed they stowed it in the crook of a branch, and so I climbed up for a better look, and well, that's when I fell, she says. You hold the strange chime in your hands, appreciating its heft and form. The inlaid designs are like nothing you or the zoologist have ever seen. The metal is cool to the touch, yet strangely electric. On a whim, you hold the bell up and swing it once, even though it doesn't have a clapper. A palpable wave of sonic energy ripples through the air around you. From the trees, you can hear a familiar, mournful cry. This has become more than a simple survey, Dr. Irwan whispers. Whatever those creatures have become, they are no longer Phalanx receptimus. Something changed. The zoologist pauses and continues her words for a moment, then smiles at you. Whatever is happening, I would prefer to not work alone. Perhaps I could continue my research with you. You tell Dr. Irwan you wouldn't have it any other way, and agree to stay with her as she recovers. The zoologist entrusts the strange bell to you. In your campaign log, record Dr. Irwan joined the cell. Any one investigator may choose to add the Dr. Derry Irwan story asset to their deck. It does not count toward their deck size. So here she is, cryptozoologist. To 2 cost asset, ally scholar, you get +1 willpower. Free trigger, exhaust Dr. Irwan. Either reveal a card from your hand to shuffle each copy of that card that is set aside as a hollow into its owner's deck, or discard a card from your hand to shuffle any set aside hollow into its owner's deck. In either case, gain a resource for each card shuffled in this way. I do think Kamani will greatly benefit from that, so we're going to give it to them. Choose an investigator to be the bearer of the ruinous chime, and update the campaign log accordingly. So here's the ruinous chime. Shift it to automatically evade all enemies to your location. Flip this key to its unstable side. Each investigator takes direct horror. Holy shit, we're giving this to Kamani. Oh yes. I think that's great in them. Both of these cards can be found in that counter set. Mark 1 time in your campaign log, so we are now at 16 time, and we may embark. Okay, so pretty sick. I believe next we're going to Shanghai. Yeah. Alright, so Shanghai takes 1 time, so we're at 17 time, and it is 32J, the Coiled Serpent. File 32J, asset name, Flint Lee, area of operation Shanghai, China. Profile, recently acquired agent in charge of undisclosed cell reporting directly to Commissioner Taylor. Current assignment, according to recent report, asset is split from rest of cell and is currently in Shanghai investigating whereabouts of subject 46Q. Notes, asset's loyalty to Foundation cause is unsure. Extreme vigilance is recommended. You send a missive to Agent Flint ahead of your arrival, setting a meeting place and time. Jing'an Temple at noon, and head there as soon as you arrive, entering the broad stone courtyard at the temple's entrance. After a short while, a tourist approaches you and asks in English, "You sure you're alone?" It takes you a moment to realize that the tourist is none other than Flint, in a subtle yet convincing disguise. He narrows his eyes at your stare. "Answer me," he says, scanning his surroundings. You assure him that you haven't been followed. Can't be too careful. Eyes everywhere. I have a lead on one of those coterie types here in Shanghai, just like the Foundation's intel suggested. They call her Subject 46Q, aka Lady in Red Parasol. Sure enough, she brings that parasol everywhere she goes. As far as coterie insignias go, it's not the most subtle. While he whispers, he pulls a large camera and tripod from his duffel bag and painstakingly sets up a shot of the temple. You wonder aloud what in the world Flint is up to. "Stop staring," he hisses under his breath. Then you spot other tourists taking photos as well, and you realize that Flint is better at blending in than you are. The last time I saw the lady with the parasol, she was leaving a meeting between several wealthy British and Chinese businessmen, whale men, he says quietly, head still down. Women aren't usually allowed at such meetings, nor are regular citizens. To be in that room, you have to be able to get the attention of those powerful men, which means you're either very powerful or obscenely wealthy. Flint takes a few photos, then moves to a new spot and starts the tedious process of focusing the camera all over again. Within 2 weeks of that meeting, they announced a lucrative new contract. It seems all their competitors were convinced, for one reason or another, to step away from the project, which left them to write their own ticket, name their own price. He slowly scans the courtyard again, careful to move just his eyes and not his head. Could be, could be she has leverage on them, or maybe she's just that charming. But I'm willing to put my money on it being the influence of a key. If that's true, it's imperative that we're not made. Flint's paranoia is infectious. Check the campaign log. If the cell told the truth to Taylor, which we did, proceed to Coiled Serpent 2. Look, I would tell you more, maybe even let you help me out here, but you've made it pretty clear you're a bit chatty, and the last thing I need is the coterie figuring out I'm onto them. So how about we split up? Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll contact you when I have a good lead. Without letting you protest, Flint packs up his camera and leaves. In your campaign log, record Flint is working solo. In your campaign log, find the 6th spot from the current time. So that would be 19. No, bleh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20, 23, right. And write psi. Blah, 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 when you get there and we may embark. Spoilers, we're not coming back. Okay, so next, what's next to here? It's Kathmandu. Oh, I wonder why we're going to Kathmandu, huh? Kathmandu is number 53, and it takes 1 time. So we have a total of 18 time right now. And here we go. Whistle. I told you this was going to be a long one. Whistle on the wind. Files 53V. Subject class undetermined. Real identity Uparetria Aliki Zoni. Last known location Kathmandu, Nepal. Description: Subject 53V, hereinafter made with scarlet sash, appears to be a teenage girl of unknown descent wearing a white dress and a red sash. Redacted. Paradimensional capabilities. Redacted. Sightings: Locals in region have reported seeing a spirit matching subject's description. Heralded by a high-pitched whistling of sound. Unclear if redacted. Approach procedure. Subject risk class unconfirmed. Do not approach. A chill breeze flutters through the streets of Kathmandu, along with a faint, shrill whine. To the north, the Himalayas loom over the city, only their peaks illuminated by the westward sun. Pinks and purples bathe the sky in vibrant beauty. You could stare at such a breathtaking sight forever, but you have a job to do. Despite the quiet, peaceful evening, that soft, sharp piping does not cease, like an aching sense of dread in the back of your mind. As the evening drags on and the whistling grows louder, you realize you're the only one who can hear the strange sound. It feels as though it is reaching out to you directly, as if it hears you too, as if it knows you. On a whim, you close your eyes and strain yourself to listen closer. It's difficult to tell where exactly the sound is coming from. It seems to waft all around you and echo throughout the streets. But it grows in volume as you round the nearest corner and head north, and so north you continue. Eventually, you reach an art gallery nestled between several age-old buildings. The whistling here is fevered and unpleasant, like a boiling kettle. Though the gallery is closed at this late hour, you are able to easily find an open side entrance. You brace yourself and enter the gallery, where dozens of Nepalese sculptures and paintings are on display. Many carved out of wood or stone, others made out of ashtatu, an amalgam of 8 different metals, and still others made of terracotta. The whistling suddenly stops the moment you reach the rearmost section of the gallery, where a simple lot remains, strangely empty. There is no trace of what might have been there, just an empty space where something historic and treasured is clearly meant to be. Then, a lonely voice pierces the sudden quiet, speaking in a language you do not understand. You turn on your heels, body tensing. On the other end of the hall is a girl dressed in white, her figure seemingly ethereal in the faint beams of fading sunlight that permeate through the building. Her long black hair is draped over her face, masking her expression. A long scarlet sash wrapped around her waist flutters behind her, despite the fact that there is no breeze. You freeze. The figure of the girl does not move. Her hair and sash drift steadily in the stillness. Then she speaks once more. Again, you don't understand a single word of it, though you notice that she has switched languages. Recognizing a few root words, you realize she is using Latin. She speaks again, this time in what sounds like ancient Greek. If she is trying to communicate with you, it may be wise to play along. You ask her what she is doing here, why she has guided you here. Her response is yet another language that eludes you, this one sounding like a blend of Egyptian and Greek. Read only if an investigator has the drifter trait, which none of us do, and if we're excluding Wendy Adams somehow. Due to the language barrier, it's difficult to get a sense for what she wants from you. As you attempt to decipher her intent, she approaches slowly, her steps making no sound whatsoever along the wooden floor. She gestures to the empty lot next to you and whistles softly, as though the sound might carry with it some meaning. You wonder if perhaps there may have been once something here, and then realize it is gone, vanished from history without so much as a trace. You recall the woman's name from the Foundation's dossier and ask her if she is also on the trail of the entities responsible for these kinds of disappearances. Aliki Uperetria does not seem to understand you, but she tilts her head in recognition at the sound of her own name. Then, she wrenches something from around her neck and extends it to you in a closed fist. Okay, we either accept what she is offering us, or we do not accept. We will accept. My god. Whistle in the wind, too. You extend your hand, and a small device on a silver chain falls into your palm. It is a whistle, carved out of bone to look like the head and beak of a white raven. Glancing back up at Aliki, she points towards the plaque next to the empty lot and says something once more in what sounds to you like Latin. You ask what she is after, and what the significance of the whistle is, but she remains cryptically silent. Turning over the whistle in your hand, you find no markings or clues as to its purpose. When you glance back up to question Aliki, she has vanished, replaced once more with the cold wind that seeps into your skin. Then, though no one else seems to hear it, the piping returns, soul-wrenching, ear-splitting. It does not cease for as long as the whistle remains in your possession. In your campaign log, record the cell possesses a mysterious whistle. Each investigator suffers one mental or one physical trauma as the shrill sound follows them everywhere they go. So I'm probably going to have Kaimani take a physical, and Daryl take a mental. Remove an Elder Thing token from the Chaos bag. Add one tablet token. If there are already 4, each investigator earns 1 experience instead. So there are already 4, so we earn 1 experience. We're now at 5. And we may embark. Oh boy. Okay, so that is the main thing that I wanted to do here in Asia. I believe after Kathmandu is I wanted to go to Bombay. Yeah, we're gonna go to Bombay. Actually, is there a reason we can't just go to Kabul immediately? No, that's right. We're going to Alexandria. Yeah, I want to go to Docks of War. Okay, so we mark a time. So we are now at 19 time, if I believe that looks correct. And we're going to Bombay. Yep. So Bombay is here at file 36L. Strange architecture. We're at Bombay, so we go to Strange Architecture 1. The air is deliciously warm as you wait for a tram in southern Bombay. With several days until the next leg of your journey, you allow yourselves to be drawn in by the city's intoxicating color and light. A whirlwind first day sees you visit various temples, curio shops, and bazaars. Bright orange flowers hang by strings from bamboo racks as you make your way through a bazaar toward the Colaba Causeway, where the Gateway of India looks out into the waterfront. As the day turns to evening, you continue to explore back alleys and side streets lit by delicately inlaid bronze lamps. The air is thick with unknown scents and hazy shapes as you lose yourself in the heady atmosphere of the old city. As you make your way to the hotel, you cross a wide thoroughfare into the Kala Goda district and stroll down its old, winding roads. Check the campaign log for the cell. Appreciated the architecture. We have not, so we skip to Strange Architecture 3. As you navigate the labyrinthine art district, one facade in particular stands out to you. A narrow building with handsome cornice molding and intricate stonework is wedged between 2 older local buildings. The number 13 is carved next to a pair of austere wooden doors. Over the door is a slate frieze that depicts a cast of mythological figures, some recognizable, some not. The building itself looks out of place amidst the intricate architecture of the surrounding area. The look of the building makes you feel vaguely uneasy the longer you study it. There is a coldness, a sharpness to the building's design, accentuated by jagged quoins and harsh angles. Something about the wide black windows, the dark interior, denotes the emptiness of a hollow skull. The darkness in the evening only magnifies the sense of eeriness. Others do not seem so willing to linger here. In your campaign log, record the cell appreciated the architecture. And we may embark. So we're in Bombay, and we're going to Alexandria, I believe. Is that next on my list? I believe so. Yes. So we're going to Alexandria, which means that we're going to 38N. However, while we go there, we pass time mark 20. So we need to read. What the fuck is this one called? Alpha, beta, gamma. I don't know. Whatever. That thing. Uh, it's not gamma. It's zeta. Okay, right. Yep. Zeta. You return to the hotel after a long day of travel and investigation, and indeed architecture enjoyment, only to find your room in shambles. A grim feeling sprouts in your gut. Someone has clearly turned your room upside down in search of something, and you're pretty sure you know what. You rush to the safe where you've been storing the paradimensional artifacts you aren't carrying on your person. To your horror, it is empty, apart from a single red card. Reaching out to Foundation contacts, you believe you have tracked the culprit to one of the 4 likely coterie sanctums. Perhaps if you're quick, you can recover what was stolen from you. Check the keys section of the campaign log and find each of the keys whose bearer is an investigator. Choose one at random, 2 instead if the investigator control 5 or more keys in total. That key/keys has been stolen. Okay, so we have 3 keys. We have the Eye of Ravens, the Weeping Lady, and the Ruinous Chime, and I'm going to choose one at random, going from 1, 2, 3 to the bottom. So we lose the Weeping Lady. That's okay, I guess. Gather each of the enemies in the red coterie set whose name matches those you haven't seen the last of, which I believe is just the Red Glove Man and La Chica Roja. Yep. This is the choose one at random. This is the identity of the character who stole your keys. So Red Glove Man is number 1, and La Chica Roja is number 2. Okay, so La Chica Roja has stolen the Weeping Lady, which is very fitting. That is very fitting, actually. She stole it back. She stole it back from us. Update the keys section in your campaign log such that the bearer of the keys that were stolen is the randomly chosen enemy. In Central Asia, Americas, and North Atlantic sections of the campaign log, find Kabul, Quinto, San Juan, and Reykjavik. In each of these spots, write 14C. You are now allowed to travel to these locations whenever you embark. Alright, so filled out these 2, that one, and that one. Okay, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get them back. I'm wondering if my route has any of them. It has San Juan in it. Not sure about Reykjavik though. That's fine. Okay, and now we are in Alexandria. So I believe that this is a scenario 38N. Should be Dealings in the Dark, right? No, 38 is Dogs of War. That's right. And how much time has passed? 20 time. Does that... Oh, wow, and that does change things. So that's cool. I've never seen this one before. Yeah. Okay, that was a long one. That was a 30-minute interlude. Okay, well, I'll see y'all next time in Dogs of War. If you like this video, please make sure to... Oh, right, sorry. Blabba, what am I doing? I need to do upgrades. We have 5 XP to spend, so I'll be right back. Alright, so let's talk about upgrades. They both had 5 experience to spend. Kathmandu is going to spend that on the level 3 Stealth, which is a fast way to evade. It's going to be sick. And a level 2 Pickpocketing, trading out the other level 0 pickpocketings. And if you're curious, I'm moving one of the I'll Take That's from my deck into the Underworld Market to make it have 10 cards. Daryl's only going to spend 4 experience. He's going to get a level 3 flashlight and the second copy of Gumption, trading out both flashlights. Okay, we're actually done. Long episode. Holy shit. If you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. It really helps out the channel. This has been SuperFang99, signing off.